So, clinical hours are done. The hours are totaling. Exams are done, and we're expecting good results. So, I'm an official registered nurse now. Obviously, we're still waiting for sang and all of that, but we are done. It was so surreal to say it out loud. Even when people say, "Oh my gosh, you're done! Congratulations!" I'm like, "Thank you." It hasn't sunk in. Maybe to sink in on graduation, but literally, I'm done. But anyway, that's not why I'm here. So in this video, I just wanted to give you guys some 12 lessons that I learned through my nursing journey. The first important lesson that you need to learn when you enter university: you are an adult now. All the childishness, all the immaturity, you need to leave it at your valedictory. When you leave your final matric exam, leave it there. And the reason why I say this is, in university, you don't have anyone coming running after you that you need to submit this and that. This something is due. They give you the module guide. They tell you this is what is due, this is when it's due. It's your own job to keep track of it. So if you're not going to keep track of your exams, your tests, your sick tests, mock tests, supplementary, if you're not going to be organized and keep up with all of that, you're going to stay behind. You're going to miss a lot of things. Be organized. And guys, organization is not a scary thing. Literally, you need a calendar. On the 15th of November, this is due, and you stick to that. It's not complicated. Don't make it complicated for anyone, but keep track of your things. Another thing in those whole thing of adulting, becoming a grown-up, please get your vaccines, especially those that are working within the health system. Your hepatitis, please get it, because you're going to be exposed to a whole lot of things. So make sure that you're keeping yourself. Also condomize, the whole shebang, birth control, but that's a whole different conversation. But please, if you're going to getting involved in any of these activities as your registered nurse on hand, please keep yourself safe. Another thing is, if you're going to be interacting with anyone, any lecturer, any supervisor, anyone within the clinical facility, if you have an internship, keep a track of all transactions. Because trust me, when something goes missing, the lecturers, supervisors, they're not going to take responsibility. So if you give a supervisor anything, take a picture of it, send it to Google Drive, so that whenever you need proof, keep proof of it. If you hand in your portfolio, make sure that you also have a copy, even if you have to scan in yourself, so that you just have proof and copies of everything. Just keep yourself safe. You're an adult now, it's your responsibility. The second thing that you need to learn is you need to apply yourself. I feel like high school and all of that was easy. You literally got a textbook, you memorized it, you regurgitated it on the test, and life moved on. But in university, the setup of the questions, the setup of your projects and stuff, it's about application, it's about how you're understanding the work. So it's a lot more deeper, and it's not as service level as high school was. So it's very important that you're applying yourself, that you're actually putting in the effort. I made a video about this where I was talking about the minimum ability tendency that students have within university. This whole thing of, I just need a 50% to pass. Yes, I do understand that there are some modules and there are some courses that really show you flames, né? But please at least apply yourself. Having a 50% should not be your benchmark, but I'm also not saying that you should be a straight A student. But honestly, being a 50% student is going to give you more stress than you need, because when you're constantly going to think, did I make it with this exam, or am I qualifying for supplementary? Don't give yourself that headache. Even if you're aiming for your 60s and 70s, that's a better goal than your 50%. Please, this whole 50%, I just need a 50% to pass, no, it must fall. The 50% mentality must fall. That should be a hashtag. I've made it a hashtag, yeah. Third lesson that I learned is networking is important. And for me, it was especially important as an international student. There was just a whole lot of things that came my way so suddenly, and especially in my first year. First year was very scary, and was a lot of culture shock in regards to the things that I had to do regarding applications, payments, and just how nursing school functions in general. And having a network of people that knew what was going on, that could advise me on what to do, honestly, they saved my life. They made life so much easier. And honestly, they were the inspiration for me to make this YouTube channel, because there was so much information that people within the university and all of that know stuff, but the general most students don't know about it, and honestly it's beneficial for us, it's useful, but no one is talking about it, no one knows about it. So honestly, that's the whole point of this YouTube channel. So as someone who's entering university, it's important that you're networking. Someone that you sit next to, anyone that you interact with within administration, ask them about certain things that you don't understand, ask questions. There's so many people that will be willing to educate you and tell you. And honestly, there are some things where you need to do things a little backwards than the general route that we all expected to, because our situations are not going to fit the ideal student, and as a result you're going to need to know people that are going to help you to jump over the system, if I can say. Also, getting a job at my university, it made it so much more easier because I could understand how my faculty works, I could understand how my degree worked, and it made life so much easier. So when you get into university, network, get to know people, all the events that you go to, even if it's not, oh hi, I'm here to meet you to be a network. No, even if you're just making friends, making conversation, you're going to learn so much from people, because people have a lot of stories to tell, from where they're coming from, their situation, how they got to university, their journey through the whole thing. Trust me, you will learn a lot, and you open your mind to more possibilities and learning more about university and your degree and how it works. Because for me, I feel like it's such a huge disservice for you to leave university not knowing anything about how your university functions and how your degree functions. No. The fourth thing that I've learned with university is that it's not just about studies. And the reason why I say this, when we are all this whole coming out of university, I really need to make that video quickly. It's the juices are flowing. Anyway, when we're all coming out of high school, we are sort of boxed in. We are told we need to act in a certain way because that's the image that the school has. That's why we have school uniforms. That's why we have rules that are specific to that high school, and also mottos and stuff. That's the image that the high school wants you to mold you into, the character that it wants to build you into. If you're in agreement with that, cool, life moves on. But there's some that when they come out of high school, it's almost like they're coming out of this shell, the way that a caterpillar becomes a butterfly. The thing is, in university, you are less boxed in, you're allowed to be a bit more free. And that's why I guess it's this whole thing of when people go to university, they're told, oh, you've changed. They don't necessarily have changed, maybe if they have like bad influences and things like that. But after university, after high school, you're allowed to become an individual. You're allowed to explore your interests, things that you are passionate about. It honestly is a time for discovery, and it not just focuses on your studies. Yes, your studies will play a big role in how you turn out, because obviously the type of career that you're working yourself into, the type of free thinking that is allowed. And also in university, there's a lot of liberality in the way that people think, function. That's why people are a bit more open to express themselves and that whole thing. So as much as you are there to study and learn about university and your course and stuff like that, university is about discovering yourself. It's a beautiful process. Who you enter coming in and how you exit, honestly, it's so different, but it is your duty to make sure that you're growing and you're expanding and you're discovering yourself in the most positive and productive ways. There will definitely be a lot of influences, people wanting you to move in this direction and that sort of thing, but you're also very much open to be who you are, be truly authentic to who you are, how you feel, and that whole shebang. So it's very important that you are taking the steps and you are doing your part to discover yourself, whether that's attending events, going to talks, or just doing a whole lot of self-reflection, surrounding yourselves with the type of friends that you see yourself for the long run, friends that think in a similar way, that you motivate each other and that sort of thing. But the key word is that it is a positive improvement. Lesson number 5 is you need to learn to adapt. Give an example within nursing. You need to adapt to working placements, different shifts. You need to adjust to different nursing staff that you be working with. You also need to adjust to different hospitals, how they do things. You need to adjust to lecturers, how they teach, how they function, different dialects, different accents, and the whole shebang. So you are adjusting to that, but also adjusting to the culture of university. As a result, you can't always be very stringent in how you do things or how you act. You really have to adjust. You have to learn how to work with all the differences that are going to be coming your way you have to learn to adapt, because if you're going to be very stringent, university is going to be very frustrating for you. There's going to be a lot of things that are going to happen. University, admin, things are just not going well and you need to work around it. And I know the biggest default that most students enter into is we complain if something is not going our way or the way that we expected it or the way that you wanted. And a big example that I can give you is your test dates, exam, the scope. We always fight about it when they change things, or oh my gosh, the dates are so close together. I understand that we all get frustrated and things like that, né? But if you fight about it and it can be changed, then there's no need for you to be moaning and complaining. It does not change anything. It does not help anyone. Just, okay, this is a situation, and move on with life. The next lesson that I had to learn is that busy is not a label. I know a lot of people, especially students, we love to tell ourselves, oh my gosh, I'm so busy. But you can be busy and not be productive. You can have a lot of things to do, but actually not accomplishing anything. As a result, you need to make sure that you're prioritizing your task. If you have a long to-do list, prioritize it to this really has to happen today. This can somewhat happen today. These they don't have to happen today, and to remove them from your to-do list. Please do not get caught up in this whole notion of, oh, you're busy. Oh my gosh, they're busy students, they're productive. If you are busy and you're not having anything accomplished, you are doing it wrong. The eighth lesson that I had to learn is that mental health is a real thing. And I know this is going to be a bit more controversial-ish, but bear with me. In the Black community, mental health is somewhat seen as, oh, that's a white man's thing, or that's not something that affects us. And through university, I got to experience a taste of it. And I didn't even realize that I was going through it until I was doing psychiatric nursing. And I was like, oh, okay, actually, I'm going through a mental health issue here. And for me, I suffered from anxiety. Like, I would have night sweats. I would constantly be anxious. I was always nervous. I was suffering from insomnia, especially when it came to exam time. And the thing is, I'm not diagnosing myself. We were told as students, never diagnose yourself. And it's not the full criteria of what anxiety is, but those are the symptoms of anxiety, and also goes into the whole burnout that I went through. But for me, it came to a realization that as much as say, oh, I'm mentally fit, oh, I'm a strong Black woman, and mental health is not a thing for me, it is something that I experienced, and it became evident that, okay, this is actually a mental health issue and I had to deal with it. So as much as we are told that, oh, we need to toughen up, we might say, oh, that's not something that happens to me, or that's not something that happens to us. It actually does happen. You just need to be more cognizant of your feelings and what is actually happening with your body, because our body, honestly, they can exhibit a lot of mental things that we are facing, and we might not even pick it up. So the next big lesson that I had to learn is that reality sucks. It generally does. So obviously, when we're all in high school, we have started our university applications. We're thinking of all the wonderful and amazing things that are going to happen when you get to university. You're going to be staying in accommodation on your own. It's going to look so cute. You've got this whole fantasy in your mind of how it's all going to be. Then you arrive into university, and then reality hits. There's not enough money for that, school fees, things are missing. But the whole social media vibe that people love to advertise university as, it's not as simple, it's not as glamorous. We're all not having parties every weekend. People are suffering. People are just going through the most in university. As a result, speak to those that are in university, actually find out what is happening on the ground, how university really is like, because I know it's all wonderful. We're all excited to go to university. We all dream about all the universities that we want to go to, but unfortunately, when we get there, it's not always the case. And sometimes we might have this ideal that, oh my gosh, I want to be a UCD student. Then you end up at CPUT. That's rather unfortunate, but if that university is going to give you the same degree, you're going to have the same job, then just do it. Swallow your pride and keep it pushing. The next lesson that I learned is that you need a side hustle, and not just for the monetary gain. Obviously, if you've got money, cool, whatever, life moves on. But there's so much more lessons that you actually learn from having a side hustle. Number one, obviously, you learn how to budget, how to manage your money, because I don't know, there's something different when it's your own money that you're spending. You're more likely to want to spend it wisely than just waste it, because it hurts because you've worked for it. So that's definitely one big lesson that you get from having a side hustle. Number two, it teaches you to manage your time, because now you have to manage on being at work and actually doing what you're supposed to be doing at work, and also having time for school and managing both. But whatever your side hustle is, it's going to teach you how to manage people, how to manage conflict, how to work with others. It also allows you to network. Like I said, it's important. So there's so many other important lessons that you can gain from having a side hustle, and most universities, they have internal side hustles that you can do. For example, working as a student assistant, library assistant, tutor, and that sort of thing. You definitely can get involved in all of that. Or even if you've got your own idea that you think university students would appreciate. I know there's a lot of people that do nails for like graduation, makeup, that are cheap, that is accommodated to university students. If you can get yourself involved in that, that's great. It teaches you a lot more life lessons than what your studies are going to teach you, because as I said, university is not just about studies, it's about learning and acquiring skills for you to be a functional and productive and successful adult when you go further on in life and you leave university, start working, having a family, and that sort of thing. Those habits and lessons, you gain them through university. University allows you to make mistakes, you pick yourself up and you keep it pushing. So this is the time for you to experiment. If you've had a business idea that you want to try out, this is your time. The next lesson that I can implore upon you guys is you need to keep it simple. I know when we enter university, like I already mentioned, that we have this assumptions and misconceptions on how it's going to be, and we all assume you need to have all these multiple things, like you need to be buying 5 million textbooks, you need to have this fancy laptop, you need an iPad. Like, we're just sort of conditioned to expect or to want to have a lot of things. But those lot of things, one, they're expensive, and two, they won't always give you the results that you want. Trust me, if you keep it simple, it's so much easier to have a lot more things accomplished. And even with textbooks, like I've advised you guys, you don't always need to buy textbooks. Your university library will have the textbooks. You take your notes from class, which most of the time they're actually quite adequate. Then you do your extra research with the textbooks in the library. You gather yourself your study notes. Life moves on. I survived not buying textbooks. I've done really well. So, and then the last tip that I can give you guys, or the last lesson that I learned with university, is that you will have to endure a lot of uncomfortable things. So with nursing, obviously you're enduring the late hours, the long hours at work, but you're also enduring having a lot of work and just not having the mental or the physical capacity to accomplish it all. You're going to be frustrated with your marks, projects not going well, having conflict with group members that don't want to do work. Your group projects were the death of me. But anyway, there's a lot of uncomfortable things that you're going to have to face, but you need to go into it head on. You're an adult. Your degree is your responsibility. No one can carry that burden for you. You're on your own. Create systems. Take care of your mental health. And trust me, you'll be able to push through. Next week, I'm going to be doing a video on giving you tips on how I was able to manage being a university student while also working part-time, also having YouTube, and just balancing life in general. So I hope you guys would take them to heart. You actually listen, so that you enter into university, while you enter into the next year of your university, you know, having learned something and improving on the systems that we have, because progress over perfection. So until next week, Friday, 12 p.m. South African time, have an awesome one. Bye guys.